Control. Bravo team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today with my last piece of Destiny Alpha coverage on the PlayStation 4. We're going to be taking a look at the multiplayer component of Destiny, the Crucible. Now, I had to let you guys see that part. I know a lot of people hate when I drag out the intro like that, but that is just a prime example of how Bungie is going about integrating the multiplayer component into the world of Destiny. You know, it's not just like this standalone component, you click play multiplayer. No, the Crucible is an actual thing inside of the world of Destiny. It's the sort of battleground where the Guardians go to sort of, you know, fight it out, see who's the best of the best. It's not meant to be this sort of like, you know, oh, we're killing each other. It's the sort of, you know, the training virtual reality battle space theme kind of thing that Bungie games have always really had. You know, the Spartans were never killing other Spartans because they hated each other. It was because it was a training program in many ways. And that same sort of aspects carries over here inside of the Crucible. You know, it's just this battleground for the Guardians. Who's better than who? It's that simple. And the cool thing, as I showed you guys inside of the social and exploration video, is that you can earn these Crucible points and this reputation with these different Crucible-based factions that allows you to buy special PvP gear or just special gear from different factions to use in the PvE world. Now, I didn't get to play as much of the multiplayer as I would have liked to. I only got to play like 1 or 2 matches, and I didn't even get to play all the game modes. The only one I played was Contact here, I believe it's called, which is essentially just, it's like a domination mode. You know, you're capturing the different points. There's modes with vehicles in them, so a lot of that big variety that's just been part of Bungie's multiplayer component in the past in the Halo games is still here inside of Destiny. Now, there's one thing that I want to sort of point out, I think that makes the multiplayer component of Destiny, without even looking at what it actually contains, something to me that's going to be more special and just more enjoyable than in other cases of a first-person shooter. And that is just because this is just one small component of what makes up Destiny. You know, it's not like past Halo games. I love Halo to death, right? But at the end of the day, you played the single-player story, you played it with a friend, you played it by yourself, you had, like, you know, Forge and all that stuff, but basically you played the single player, it ended eventually, there was an end, and then you just were left with the multiplayer. And that was it. You didn't really have any other option as to where you wanted to go. I mean, if you got sick of competitive multiplayer, that was it. You know, there was pretty much, there's nothing else left for you to do inside of Halo. Now, inside of Destiny, that's not the case. I mean, they're creating this open world that will hopefully have, you know, in ways, endless amounts of playability. You know, even after you've completed the content, hopefully there will be plenty of reasons to go back and explore the other areas, not to mention that Bungie plans on supporting Destiny for the next 10 years, so things like expansions, you know, this is a world that you're going to be able to spend excessively large amounts of time in if Bungie has their way. And at the end of the day, you're not locked to doing one thing or the other when you complete something else. You know, I can go and I can play the story single player, I can explore the open world by myself, or I can experience it with my friends, or maybe we get sick of wandering around the wastelands of the moon or Earth, or wherever we may be, and we decide that we want to head online and kick some Guardian butt, and then we head to the Crucible, and then we get bored of that, we can just go back to what we were doing before. You're never locked into one of those things. There isn't a moment where you go to play Destiny that night and say, I really don't feel like playing multiplayer games right now. Okay, that's fine. We'll go play the single player, the cooperative experience. There's that nice balance between all of these different elements that, to me, is really special, because I love competitive games, I really do, but I'm not into them as much as I used to be. And I'm really excited to play Destiny's PvP component, but it's not something that I'm going to want to play every single night. So having that option as to what I do that night, or on any given night with my friends, I think is going to make the game just an overall much more enjoyable experience. I also think it's going to help lower the stress levels of players. I mean, when you play a competitive game all the time, you get stressed out, and you're just like, you know, usually if that's all you have to play, though, you continue to play it. You're stressed, you're angry, you're still playing it, everyone's pissed off. Now you have that option of just leaving, like, hey, you know, I'll go do single player, I need to chill out, I'm getting frustrated, my team's been getting crushed, and it's time to go step away from it all. So that, I think, is a very special aspect of multiplayer. Now, moving into the actual multiplayer, you know, how does it feel? It's hard to not make direct comparisons to Halo in many ways. I'm not saying that it feels like Halo. I'm saying it feels like a Bungie multiplayer experience. So the controls are dialed. They're super tight, man. The game, it plays wonderfully on the DualShock 4, which, interestingly enough, we just found out, I believe it was 2 days ago, a little bit of news that Bungie actually had helped Sony design the DualShock 4. So It's no surprise to me that DualShock 4 turned out to be such a wonderful controller, but the game controls great, you know, using all of your different sort of Guardian abilities like your jump and your glide if you're the Warlock, or the triple jump as the Hunter. It all feels very natural, and it also feels very balanced. Now, I know it's kind of a brave thing to say that, considering I really didn't get to spend that much time with multiplayer, but for as long as I've been playing multiplayer competitive shooters, I feel like I can tell pretty quickly when something is just stupidly overpowered. It just doesn't fit, and nothing ever felt that way. Bungie has really gone out of their way to make sure that despite the fact that players are bringing in their own gear, their own weapons, their own armor from their single player, from their open world portion of Destiny, and bringing it right into the multiplayer, they still managed to make it feel really balanced. You know, I had some concerns at first, like, how is this going to work? You know, if this guy's level 8 and he has that rifle, it's just the damage, the amount of damage that the weapons do doesn't scale the same way in PvP as it does in PvE. So that's sort of where that balance comes from. The other big thing is that while you do have your special weapon and your heavy weapon, just like in the PvE component of Destiny, you actually have to pick up ammunition for those weapons on the battlefield in order to be able to use them. So while I start off with my rocket launcher and my trusty shock rifle, I have to bound around the PvP level that I'm in at that time and actually find the ammunition for these to be able to use them. So it's very similar to picking up, you know, special weapons in the Halo series. Whether I have a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher, I don't just start off with it, I actually have to find it on the battlefield. Instead of finding the weapon, I'm just finding the ammo. So that's a nice balance there. There's also some extra layers added to Destiny's, you know, multiplayer combat experience. In something like Halo, you know, there's pretty much two ways you would end up engaging with an enemy. You'd turn the corner, and you'd either be at the point where you're close enough where you're going to shoot him, or you're gonna melee him, you know, depending on the distance. Or maybe you're going to jump and shoot or jump and melee, whatever it may be. You sort of just have those two options, shoot and melee. Now with Destiny, there's this added level of randomness when you approach another Guardian, and the fact that they might have their special ability up, which for, you know, the Hunter could be a one-shot golden gun that's going to do an excessive amount of damage. The Titan might smash the crap out of everybody, and the Warlock might jump up in the air and just set everybody on magical fire. So there's that third element of surprise that you have to really keep an eye out for. And of course, there's things like the special weapons. Now, the game mode I was playing was just this sort of domination mode, as I said. There's also larger maps with vehicles, so we still have that. We still have the vehicles. You know, vehicles to me are an integral part of any Bungie multiplayer experience. In their back, you have things like the Pike, which is like a Sparrow with guns on it. There's larger scale vehicles, and I'm sure we'll see even more vehicles introduced in the beta as well as in the full release of the game. So there's a lot here to really be excited about, and I think the other added layer of excitement comes from actually gaining reputation with those PvP factions and unlocking the Crucible points that allows you to get this special PvP gear. I mean, unlocks, as much as I hate the idea of unlocks being a core focus of a multiplayer experience, I think Halo has always nailed both aspects of it, because to me, Halo was always really fun to play, just the multiplayer component. And then when they started adding things like weapon unlocks and gear, that was just a nice little bonus. So I'm hoping that Destiny feels that same way, where I'm just like, I really enjoy playing the multiplayer, but at the same time, being able to unlock this really badass piece of PvP gear that no one else has yet is just a really nice extra bonus, you know, that puts a smile on my face at the end of the day. So I'm really sad I didn't get to play more of the Destiny PvP. I'm definitely looking forward to messing around with it a lot more when the beta comes out. Hopefully, though, the sort of PvE component of it with my friends doesn't drag me away, because I think that was the biggest thing. I was having so much fun playing PvE and exploring the world that it was really hard to even think about PvP. But I'm really excited for all of these aspects, and I'm extremely excited for the fact that they're all in one wonderful package at the end of the day. So the big question I have to ask you guys is more of a personal one. I want to know, what was your favorite Halo multiplayer experience? As Bungie, you know, we got to kick it old school here and talk about the past a little bit. So was it Halo 2 for you, Halo 3, was it Halo Reach, was it Halo 1? Let me know in the comment section below, and of course if you guys have any more questions about the Destiny Alpha, my thoughts on the PvP, feel free to throw those in the comment section below as well. I'll see you in the next one.